Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the DLC Buyer's Guide again, and this is actually, I know a lot of YouTubers say this, but this is one of my hands down favorite DLCs, and I'm going to go, I love this DLC, and that's not lip service, because I'm going to go into why exactly I love this DLC. But before we get started, if you enjoy military strategy, tactics, or doctrine, and seeing it applied to strategy games, this is definitely the channel for you, so make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you check out the Patreon for some after action reports because it's super fun and I like writing them for you guys. Anyway, they're all free. So let's get started. Head on over to the community page as well. Leave some comments. So, what this DLC is, I'm not gonna lie, I love this DLC. And not even in the sense that like I love this DLC, I love this DLC's map. Like, and it's free to play, like in the game. You can go into the battle editor, put whatever unit you want on it, and you can play this map right now. So I'm going to zoom out real quick. So I'm going to hit the control backs or the tab key. And I'm going to zoom up. And we're just going to look at this map. Like, look at this map. Like, and why I love this map is so different from every other Graviteam map. It's mountain terrains, roads you need to patrol. Like, so when you go in the battle editor, you can make missions to patrol these roads in these hills to set up ambushes. Like, it's just like on like a strategic or tactical or operational level, there's so much to think about. Like right now we have World War II units moving through this through these hillsides, as you can see, like just some early 1939 tanks as well as just some generic infantry patrolling these roads just on an operation mission to seek and destroy whatever they find. But think about this with like modern units. Like, oh, that guy just got a line taken out. With modern units, like you could position units in these hillsides like a much smaller, more asymmetric force, like with some ATGMs or a BTR, or like small BTRs, and just ambush whatever unit is walking through, like patrolling these hills. You can think of all kinds of tactical decisions you'll need to make. As you can see, as we crest this hillside over here, our units begin engaging more units. So now that you have to think of like how you're going to gain control of this terrain, how you're going to navigate your mechanized units through this rugged, rigid, rough terrain, right? It's one of the more complex DLCs, one of the more complex maps, one of the maps you need to think more tactically about. It's not flat, it's not barren. You can just lose troops in an absolute instant. You can put a smaller, more tight-knit force up in these hillsides and just ambush all these tanks as they slowly move and just completely shut down the opponent with a very, very small force. Right? We have just a small little platoon, 2 troops trying to move over this hillside, getting ambushed. They've already lost significant firepower, and these are World War II troops, so this is just a battle of attrition, right? When it comes down to taking these hillsides, it's just going to be like sheer force of will. Because your tanks, I mean, they can navigate up in these positions, but they can get stuck. They can flip over. So ideally, you want to preserve those weapon systems and get them into the fight the fastest, safest, and probably the most reliable route, which is going the long way, taking these 1939 tanks all the way around this hillside to eventually join your infantry force that's already being pretty much defeated by attrition, mortar fire, smoke, fire, just all on fire as they crest this hillside, while the smaller Soviet force or German force continues to push down this hill where they have both the land, tactical, and strategic advantage. This hillside overlooks this hillside so they can just fire down onto your units. So you need to think, how can I navigate this terrain with my force? How can I move these units? Where are the shouldered fire rockets? Where are the anti-tank munitions? Where are the IEDs? How do I gain control? How do I not lose all my units just by stepping over a hillside and getting mowed down by machine gun fire? You know what I mean? So when you compare it to like the other DLC maps, which are mainly flat plains with some hillsides, some small urban structures, this one really, really makes you think in a more strategic or tactical manner. It makes you think how you're going to preserve your resources, how you're moving them around the map, where you're going to move them, how you're going to move them, what hillside you're going to take. Is this hillside better than this hillside? Okay, well, if we come over to this hill, does this provide more cover? Does it allow us to flank? How are we going to maneuver our units from this hill up across this plain into this position? Look at our units. They're burning through resources right now, right? Look at all the smoke they're deploying. They're getting mortared. They're just all lining up, crawling up this hillside, through the fire, through the smoke, through the flames, just endless. There's just corpses already piling up. right? So it's just sheer force of will with World War II units. Just like smoke, move, mortar, smoke, move, mortars. All right, so we have mortars. Where do we position our mortars? How do we counter mortar their artillery? How do we utilize this smoke cover, this concealment, to move to our next objective? Okay, so let's say we get up to the hillside with the Germans. We look down upon them. Right, the Germans can just barely crest this hill and they can just fire onto our position. What would be the smart way? When are our tanks going to get here? Should we stall this attack? What if this is an assault? Are they just going to sit in this position, further dig into this position so they're harder, more difficult to get out of this position? You have troops right here who still, look at him, he's still on the hillside out in the open, but he's basically level with your fire position over here. So it's just so much to think about, and the terrain is just so one of the way better done maps. I mean, there's a huge flat terrain out there if you just want to do tank battles. There's terrain if you want to use modern units just to see if you can stop like a full-blown invasion of some BTRs, BDRMs, how to test your ATGMs, where to position them. It's just like another level of, ooh, that unit just got destroyed, of just thinking, right? When you're out patrolling the hillsides of Korea, where you would walk on the roads instead of in the hillsides, and then you would get ambushed by the North Vietnamese, wow, the North Koreans. Oh, look, this guy's getting attacked in the back. Look at this. Just terrible tactical decision making. All these guys should have broke from this column, probably went into a line or a V formation and used these two hillsides, but instead they're trying to take the fastest way possible over this hill. Realistically, we could have mitigated this loss right here with some better, more tactical thinking, some better movement orders. But overall, man, this is just hands down like just one of the best DLCs, and our tanks are still just chugging along. Like, man, this war is over. We should have timed this right, like, right? So when you have these units just piling up dead bodies, just getting mortared, tanks just taking their sweet time. I mean, it looks like they've already been, no, it looks like now they're getting attacked in the back. Huh. So it's just by far one of the best DLCs in the game, in my opinion. The actual DLC is a bit short. I think it's like 4 or 6 turns. It's called the, God, I can't pronounce it, but the Tielieketi incident, something along those lines. It's only $4.99. Definitely worth a buy if you want to play through the campaign. It's about a little Chinese Soviet invasion of each other along the border, a little misunderstanding. There's some Mi-8s in it. There's some fun weapon systems, definitely some BTRs, BRDMs. There's dogs, but there are no dogs animated. But there is like a patrol that would have dogs. Oh, these guys are no longer in the war either. I wonder who these guys got ambushed by. I mean, like, if we had these tanks in combat, I mean, these are slow 1939 tanks, right? Like, ideally, just like by far one of the worst forces we could have deployed. Like, they can barely navigate this hillside, which is something you need to consider, how your vehicles are going to move across the hillsides and navigate this terrain. How fast, even though that's like a fast move. And this is, I believe, a much smaller German force has just shut down this whole assault, even with all the smoke concealment. Those mortars, like, just this terrain control they have. Looks like that guy's returning fire. This guy's pushing up. The small little assault's already been just shut down. We have some Soviets down right there. Looks like we have some units that fell back from the looks of it. Yep, we have some units who did not engage, and now our tanks are in combat. So our whole assaulting force lost that battle, and now our 1939 tank has begun to engage some of this force. Right? So overall, this was a terrible route to go. Anyway, guys, oh, it was taken out. They destroyed that tank. Oh my God. Tank down. Tank down. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace out.